Imagine waking up in the middle of the night to the smell of smoke, realizing your house is on fire. You manage to escape, but as you stand there outside, counting heads, a horrible realization sinks in. 5 of your children, just kids, haven't made it out. But in the chaos and devastation that follows, strange things start happening. Suspicious clues, mysterious letters, and whispers of conspiracy. What if they didn't die in the fire at all? Today we're diving into the strange and heartbreaking mystery of the Sodder children's disappearance. Part 1. The backstory. It was Christmas Eve, 1945, in Fayetteville, West Virginia. George and Jenny Sodder were home with 9 of their 10 children, celebrating the holiday season. But just after midnight, a fire broke out in their house, leading to a frantic escape. George, Jenny, and 4 of their children made it out, but 5 of the children, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were missing. Initially, it was assumed that they perished in the fire, but as the Sodders began investigating, they uncovered a series of unsettling details that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Part 2. The suspicious clues. Here's where things start to get strange. No remains, despite a thorough investigation, were found in the ashes. Experts stated that even in the hottest house fires, bones should remain, leaving the family to wonder if the children had truly been in the house fire at all. On the night of the fire, the ladder that the Sodders normally kept by their house was missing. George also tried to start his trucks to get closer to the house, but strangely both vehicles wouldn't start, despite working perfectly the previous day. That night, Jenny had been awakened not just by the smell of smoke, but also by a strange late-night phone call. The caller had laughed, then abruptly hung up. After the fire, investigators found that the phone line had been cut, not burned, implying deliberate sabotage. All of these signs pointed to something more than just a tragic fire. But why would anyone do this? Suspicions and threats against the family. The Sodders had their own suspicions. George Sodder, an Italian immigrant, had been vocal about his political beliefs, particularly his opposition to Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. A local businessman had reportedly told George that your house will go up in smoke and your children will be destroyed, possibly over a heated argument about George's anti-fascist views. Could George's political stance have made him a target, or was there something even darker at play? Part 4. Analysis of later clues and leads. In the years following the fire, the Sodders continued their search for answers. Convinced that their children had been taken, several strange incidents seemed to support their theory. The photograph. In 1968, over 2 decades after the fire, Jenny Sodder received an anonymous envelope containing a photo of a young man. Scrawled on the back were the words, "Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie, LLIL, boys, A90132 or 35. The family believed this man could have been their son Louis, now grown. Eyewitnesses and tips. Over the years, multiple people reported sightings of the Sodder children, sometimes in the company of unfamiliar adults. A woman at the Charleston Hotel claimed to have seen the children with 2 Italian-speaking men, and even remembered their unusual behavior. These leads, however, always ended in dead ends. Private investigators disappearing. The Sodders hired multiple investigators, but some leads seemed to vanish along with the detectives. One investigator they hired disappeared altogether, never reporting back to the family. This only fueled the belief that powerful people might be involved in a cover-up. Part 5. Deep dive into theories. So what happened to the Sodder children? Here's a closer look at the main theories. 1. The kidnapping theory. The Sodders were convinced their children had been kidnapped. The strange call, the cut phone line, the missing ladder, all point to a possible abduction plot. And with multiple sightings reported, could the children have been taken across state lines or even to another country? Number 2, mafia involvement. Was this the work of an organized group? George had made enemies within the Italian-American community due to his outspoken political beliefs. Some speculate that the mafia might have taken the children, either to intimidate the Sodders or out of personal revenge. 3, accidental death theory. Skeptics argue that the children died in the fire, and the lack of remains could have been an anomaly. This series follows to explain the series of strange occurrences before and after the fire. 4. Secret adoption or witness protection. Some have suggested that the children were taken for their own protection and placed in new homes, or a witness protection-like situation. Could the children have been given new identities? Part 6. Expert opinions and analysis. One forensic expert points out that a fire, even a severe one, rarely destroys all bones completely, especially in a home setting. Meanwhile, historians on organized crime note that Fayetteville's Italian community may have had connections to underground organizations, raising questions about George's feud and its consequences. So what do you think? Could it have been an organized crime plot? Was this a kidnapping gone wrong? Or is it possible that the children survived and were raised in secrecy? For the rest of their lives, the Sodders searched for answers. George went so far as to put up a billboard along Route 16, displaying photos of his lost children and offering a reward for information. The billboard became a landmark, symbolizing the family's undying hope and belief that their children were out there somewhere. In 1989, Jenny passed away, having never given up hope. The mystery of the Sodder children remains unsolved, leaving us with more questions than answers. If this mystery has captured your attention and you'd like to explore more unsolved cases, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Remember, stay weird, stay curious, and never stop questioning the unknown. I'll see you in the next video.